This week on football, 48-year-old Francesco Totti is considering returning to Serie A.
Francesco Totti, 48 years of age, considering a return.
Diego Forlan to make his tennis professional debut. Jamie Vardy having another party.
The away end is going absolutely crazy.
Manchester City women's player questions the ethics of FIFA's partnership with a giant oil and gas conglomerate. Yes, a Man City player. Conspiracy theories spin among Arsenal fans as Howard Webb is clearly caught telling the officials to send off Saliba. Delict less than delicted. Delighted. Counts. Silly joke. Son Heung-min.
Today I got yellow boots. I see the winner.
Alright, mate.
And Roy Cropper away. Hello everyone, welcome to this week of football. It's the podcast that makes you money most of the time. It is me, Alex, and how are we all doing? I have the flu. I am ill. We are taking bets on how many coughs will happen during this episode. I'm going under 19 and a half coughs over this entire episode. Place your bets and stay to the end to see. Here's one. Genuine flu, not man flu, flu. So my head is absolutely banging. But again, look, commitment. I'm still here, still speaking, still talking to the 3 people who are watching and the maybe 2 more that listen. Right, what have we got this week? We're going to be doing our team of the week. We're going to be doing your day one fantasy teams as well. A lot of people have been waiting for that. Obviously, the international break is over and we've had Premier League football back. So we'll be reviewing yours. Premier League recap coming up as well. If you guys are following us on Instagram, great. If you're following me on TikTok, great. If you're not, TikTok is Alex Goalposts. That's at Alex Goalposts. Go and find all the best bits on there. If you want to see best bits of the channel, it's at Goalpost TV, and that is on Instagram. Great opportunity for you to subscribe and like right now. Each like gets me 1% more healthy and less fluey, so do it. It'd be cool. Right, okay, let's get straight into it. I thought I'd do a little bit more in depth on the team of the week this week, since we've had such a shocking couple of weeks away from Premier League football. Thought, let's make a big song and dance of all the players that I've enjoyed watching instead of all the Bulgarians and the Lithuanians and the people who play football part-time but then all of a sudden play in the Nations League. Starting off in goal, Mats Sells. Probably the best goalkeeper I found this weekend. I don't think there was many people who actually got clean sheets, particularly in the games that I watched. But even so, clean sheet or not, cough number 2. Matt Sells had a really good game. 2 really good saves. The one from Nketiah was incredible. The one at the end from Jeffrey Schlupp to keep the 1-0 scoreline for Forest as well. Massive game for them, getting their first win at the City ground. Huge game. I actually thought it was a pretty even game, but Matt Sells, I think I think it was a game where your goalkeeper keeps you in it. Quite easily could have conceded 2 or 3 and made some really good saves. I didn't know, by the way, Matt Sells was at Newcastle back in 2016-17-ish, and they paid, I think, a decent sum for him. Well, for a goalkeeper at the time, in 16-17 season, yeah. But now he's back in the Premier League and Forest's number 1. Fair play to him. Right back, this will be very brief because I spoke about him last week. Trent Alexander-Arnold made Sancho look bang average, and it's probably as close as I'm going to get to supporting a Trent performance outside of England. As a Man United fan, watching Sancho literally have nothing against Trent. I thought he was really good against Sancho. But then anyone you play in that place, I thought Trent was really good when I think it was Pedro Neto came on. I can't remember who came on. Either way, again, anonymous in the game because Trent had a really good defensive performance. The goal wasn't down his line, his side. It was more on the other side. So you can't really fault him for conceding the goal. So, yeah. Central defenders, I've gone for Nikola Milenkovic. He is so good. So good. I'm going to have to bleep that out. Nikola Milenkovic is 6'4". He is a beast, a unit, and how no big side tried to link him up in the summer, I don't know. Nottingham Forest got him. It's probably the last and only season that he'll spend there, let's be honest. In his prime, obviously, I think he's like 27, 28. But just an all-round great footballer. As a centre-half to play for one of these top sides in the Premier League, you need to be great with the ball at your feet. He is that. You need to be great in the air. He is that. You need to be an attacking threat. He is that. And you need to be a leader. He is that. So, Forest, I'm sorry, I don't think he'll stay very long. And he'll probably go for a hefty fee in the summer, if not in January, maybe. You never know. But, yeah, what a player. Enjoy him while you've still got him because... Again, it's another classic case of the big sides, particularly in the Premier League, like to go for a big English talent, an 80 million Harry Maguire, a 75 million Wesley Fofana. I like Wesley Fofana. But then ignore completely these centre-halves that are brilliant for their clubs. I watched Fiorentina loads last season. The season before, he's always been absolutely brilliant. Always wanted a player like that at Man United. We got De Ligt. They've got Milenkovic. And I think if Milenkovic was maybe one more season, I think a full season in the Premier League, he's £100 million centre-half. And it's probably only because he plays for Forest that he won't be. I don't know what fee they'll get for him. But yeah, class. Finishing off that centre-back partnership, I've gone for Marcos Senesi. He is on the brink of a call-up to the Argentina national side. That is massive. That is the World Cup, the world champions of the world, Argentina, and their centre-half potentially plays for Bournemouth. Bournemouth, you've got to be like pretty buzzing for that. Like, that is amazing. Again, another probably centre-half that may well leave as soon as... This is the problem. As soon as you're like a smaller side in the Premier League, a player starts playing out his skin, you kind of don't want to be shouting about it too much because it's not long before the big clubs come knocking and bully their way through and nick them off you. But I was reading a great stat on Marcos Senesi for all you Bournemouth fans. He is the number one centre-back in the world, top 5 leagues, more tackles than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues per 90, more defensive actions than anyone else in Europe's top 5 leagues per 90. He is leading the way this season and he plays for Bournemouth. I'd expect, you're probably going to get a little bit more defensive actions as a centre-half. But the fact that he's doing that and Bournemouth are playing well and not conceding loads of goals shows that he's doing it really well when he's put under immense pressure and maybe more pressure than a centre-half would be at a bigger side. So, yeah, I think there's a really nice spread of really good defenders in the Premier League. I've seen a few people comment, and in my comments recently, about Haaland scoring goals in the Premier League, and he wouldn't have done it years ago when the centre-halves were better. I think this is the highest standard of Premier League defenders we've ever seen. Across the board, there is a great centre-half, a really good solid centre-half at almost every club, I would say. There's a really solid centre-half, and if they're not currently in their prime, they're on their way to be and really good. So, yeah, I think this is a great time for defenders in the Premier League. And a really difficult time for strikers. So you have to be even better than I think what previous strikers have been. So, yeah. Left back, Alex Moreno. Decent move for him. Again, Forest, clean sheet, really good. Brilliant at getting forward, carries the ball really well, passes the ball really well. I like him. Probably that way in his career, probably towards the end, but still. Thought it was a good move for him at Villa. Villa kind of played that 2 left back situation, whether it was Luca Dean or Alex Moreno, and then Ian Matson came in, and that was probably curtains for him. But I think he's had a really good start. Had a great game at Anfield and had a really good game against Palace. So yeah, like him. Probably my performance of the week is coming up here. Curtis Jones. weird rivalry from Liverpool and Man United fans about this Curtis Jones versus Kobbie Mainoo. It's like this fictional kind of duel that they've made up on Twitter, these Liverpool fans, that there's some sort of like rivalry between the two players and who's better. Kobbie Mainoo is better and he's younger, but Curtis Jones is a fantastic player. So I think you can say both, I think you can say that Kobbie Mainoo is a great player and has loads of potential, and Curtis Jones is maybe starting to fulfill his potential, being that little bit older. I actually thought that Liverpool fans didn't rate him at all, or at least didn't rate him enough. There's a lot of criticism of Curtis Jones. I've always been a massive fan, right? Like when I watch a lot of under-21s games, sad enough to watch the under-21s training and the England training kind of behind the scenes, and Curtis Jones always impressed me. The quality he has on the ball is incredible. The game against Chelsea at the weekend was magnificent, got his goal. I don't think Curtis Jones is going to be a goal scorer, and I think that's probably where midfielders almost need to be considered world class and top class and deserving of a place in a top class side. Curtis Jones ain't going to be that. He breaks up play really well. He gets about the pitch really well. He's got a great engine, great quality when it comes to passing, particularly with Liverpool when they kind of counter or they attack really quickly, they transition really quickly. He's very, very incisive, doesn't really waste the ball very often. Big fan. Big fan of this guy alongside him, Elliot Anderson. Massive move for Elliot Anderson from Newcastle in the summer. It was a move that I think a lot of Newcastle fans were really, really disappointed with, but it kind of had to happen. I think it was something to do with Almiron or something, and that's where all the hate with Almiron comes. I don't know. But 40 million quid and Forest have got a really good player. I went to watch the England under-21s over the international break. Elliot Anderson scored, had a really, really good game against Azerbaijan. Yes, Azerbaijan, but you can see he's just levels above. And then that game the other night, the way he just dribbles past players like they're not there. You don't expect that from a central midfielder. You kind of hope that he would be a goal scorer midfielder. I think he's got that potential. I think he can score goals. I think he can get forward, but you kind of expect him to be a bit of a more deeper lying midfielder, maybe break up play. Newcastle will be gutted to have let him go. I really think so. And I think it'll be one of those in the future where they'll be like, he could have been something in our side. He could have been, and I don't know. It's financial fair play. It's all this nonsense. But do you know what? Funny enough, with Elliot Anderson, I watched him play at Bristol Rovers. Not impressed at all. But what a player he's becoming. Really, really good. So, I think they got a gem there, Forest. Finish off my midfield. Lewis Cook. Lewis Cook for Bournemouth. I think he could be in line for another England call-up. I think it was 6 years ago, maybe. The last one he got. I think he got a 1 cap or 2 caps for some friendlies when he was a lot younger, obviously 20, 21, 22. He was heavily present in the under-21 setup when he was first coming through. He's not really had the best of luck with injuries and getting game time. He plays a lot of games now, more recently, and I think the whole transition from manager to manager at Bournemouth is taking a bit of effect on him, but I think he's really found his place now. I think he's really, really good. Solid midfielder. First name on the team sheet in that Bournemouth side. I thought he was brilliant against the Arsenal team that turned up and probably expected to win on the weekend and didn't. Right wing. 8th season in the Premier League. Mo Salah is a joke. It's insane, the numbers that he puts up, and it's probably not until he retires will we appreciate just how good he is. He is an unbelievable player. He is an icon of the Premier League in the making. He will be on the Mount Rushmore of Premier League players when he is finished. And this is all coming from a Man United fan. It kills me to say it. But how the hell has Mo Salah gone from this player who was a waste of space at Chelsea, wasn't really doing anything, went to Roma, Fiorentina, and then all of a sudden he's at Liverpool. Like, how is that possible? He's so good. Like, I don't think there's ever been a shock in football to see a player go from there to there in the space of a season. Like, Premier League is the hardest place to score goals and score goals consistently. He was doing half the numbers he's doing now in Serie A. He came over to the Premier League and started doubling his figures and getting more assists and whatever. The numbers are insane. They're absolutely insane. They'd be insane for a striker. He plays right wing. Like, come on. Mo Salah, yeah, a Premier League great already. Yeah, had a great performance against Chelsea, scored the goal. Some of the passes he was putting through as well. Left wing, I'm going to go for this one as a little bit of a different one. He played 15 minutes and impressed me this much. He's made it into my team of the week. I don't really think I've seen him very often. Pablo Torre. He is a Barcelona academy product. He came from Racing Santander, but went into the Barca B side, impressed. He's only 21. Really proper breakout season, I think, this season. He came on for 15 minutes in that game at the weekend against Sevilla and scored 2 goals. Some of the touches it was just insane. Like, Barca players are just Barca players. You can see them a mile off. And obviously their academy, their scouts spot them. They must sweep up so much of the talent in Spain, because the standard of players that are like teenagers in that Barca academy is just a joke. When I was in Valencia this summer, I was watching at a bar a game which was Barca under 12s, I think it was. And some of the standards of the players in the under 12s was, I mean, honestly, I think they could play lower league football if they were a little bit bigger. They're that good already. And it's no surprise we got another one. Yeah, that pitch for Barca on Sunday night was full of just 17, 18 Barca academy products. I think there was 5 or 6 academy products on the pitch at once. It was just madness. They're just mad, yeah. And Barca, they haven't really spent a massive amount this season or in the last couple of seasons, obviously financial restrictions, and they are flying. Massive game this weekend, Barca versus Real Madrid. So it'll be interesting to see those two teams come up against each other. Could go either way. I think there'll be goals. I think it'll be a great spectacle. So if you want to watch that, I think ITV might have it this weekend. Right, finishing off my team of the week, because my voice is like right on the edge of going because I'm flu and dying and there. Rasmus Højlund, RH9, as Anthony Martial put it on Instagram. Just a reminder, guys, he's 21. He's 21 years old, and he's leading Manchester United, one of the biggest club in the world, their attacking line, and the pressure is on him to score goals. First season last season, debut season, trying to break in. The world wanted him to fail. Everybody wanted him to fail. He bagged 10 Premier League goals, which is no joke when you're coming in the first season under that amount of pressure. He had a horrible streak where he couldn't get on the score sheet in the Premier League. And then it happened. And then it was just another, and then another, and then another. Without injury, Rasmus Højlund should be scoring about 15 or 20 Premier League goals a season from now until his peak. And I think he could even get better. The performance at the weekend showed not just a player who can score goals and can finish chances, but a player that is an all-round centre-forward, can hold up play, can bring others into play, can get your team out of tough situations when you're having to nail that pass into the centre-forward because you're under pressure and it's going to stick. Robin van Persie, so underrated at doing stuff like that. Romelu Lukaku, we expected to be that. I think it is a prerequisite of a Man United centre-forward to be able to hold the ball, use it really well, but also get on the end of things. Rasmus Højlund, I think there's a massive future for him. And I know I'm saying that as a Man United fan, but genuinely, I think he's so good. I think he's so underrated at this point. And the way I think you know how a Man United player is underrated is if you don't see Twitter absolutely blowing him up, calling him a flop. If there's not much noise about him, and he's a Man United player, you know that he's probably a decent player because you can't really criticise him. There was a lot of criticism when he first came in. There was a lot of comparisons to that guy who sings that song, which was really cruel, but whatever. He got through it. Imagine all that at 20 years old. You, at 20 years old, could you take that sort of abuse and criticism? No, he's a proper bloke, and I think he'll do really well. Right, that is the end of my team of the week. A little bit more in depth this week as opposed to other weeks. Let's do some day one fantasy football.
One day or day one.
It's probably one of the lowest scoring weeks of fantasy that I've ever seen, which you think, considering my team is doing so badly, it might be able to get me up there and I might be able to have a good week. No, quite the opposite. I've fallen again. Actually, I've stayed the same, which is even worse. Mediocrity. Top of the league is Liam Edgar. Liam's day one team is fantastic. It is a team that I think will take a lot of beating this season. I think has he got Chris Wood, who can't stop scoring. So for some reason, he's put Chris Wood in. His actual game week rank this week was 500,000th, which is unbelievable. You know, looking at 8 weeks in, is it? Yeah, game week 8. Considering injuries and you're not allowed to change your team, that's really good. He's got Chris Wood, Heung-min Son, Salah, captain, and Mikalenko, who for some reason came back and all of a sudden he's getting points again. So yeah, Liam Edgar's team is going to take a lot of beating. Close, though, between the top 2 and 3. Vince's day one team in third, and Big Yeti Joe, that's Joe Constance's team. Joe's really nailed it this week, 48 points. 491 overall, and only 5 points actually off Liam's team. I think it's going to be one of those. If Haaland scores a couple of goals, this league goes like that. If he doesn't, then it goes like that. It's going to be one of those seasons. The people who've got Salah and the people who've got Haaland. We've got day one team, which is Tom Jordan. Obviously, he's doing well, always does well. Frank Charles, middle table, mediocrity, just like me. On 409 points. I'm on 400 points. And at the bottom, guess who? It's Big Elliot Van Plu. Elliot Wheaton on 360 points. I think the nice thing is that as the creator of this league, I'm likely not going to finish bottom. And that's the main thing. I mean, I should be finishing top in all seriousness. But, you know, we can't be good at everything. Not even the things that we want to be good at. Right, Premier League recap. Let's go through some of the games. The Forest Palace game was the most recent one. That was on Monday. That was really good. Really enjoyed that game. Even though there wasn't many goals, it was a great watch. And it was actually a frustrating watch because there were so many opportunities for Palace to go and get a goal, go and score a goal, go and do something. They had so much space on that right wing. And that Daniel Munoz, who was awful all game, absolutely stunk the place out. If it was anyone decent, I think they'd have really taken their chances. But Forest, really good side. Really healthy side. I think Nuno's got a good thing going there. They'll be absolutely fine this season. Palace are the biggest disappointment of the season so far because I really thought they would go well under Oliver Glasner. I think if you'd have said to me they'd be around the bottom 6, I'd have been like, not a chance. Top 6, I'd have thought probably more likely. Something's not clicking. Michael Elise left, granted, but something's not right. Eze's not right. You can feel it. Mateta's coming back, obviously, after the Olympics. He's kind of trying to get his way back into the team, and Ketty has come in. He's not really hit the ground running. I don't know. Don't know what's wrong with Palace. Obviously, Joachim Anderson left, but I thought they had more than a decent enough replacement. Maxence Lacroix, 3 coughs. So, yeah, I don't know what's going to happen at Palace. They're going to need a turnaround. Something's going to happen. And if it doesn't, they'll get relegated. And I just would never have seen that coming in a million years. Sunday, Super Sunday, Liverpool beating Chelsea. Like I said, the Curtis Jones performance was a standout performance there. Mo Salah was brilliant. I actually think Chelsea were really good. But it's one of those. You go to Anfield, you need to get on the front foot. You need to understand that the crowd plays a massive, massive part, particularly on those Sunday games, big games. You need to make sure that you're controlling the crowd. I think little itty-bitty tackles and things like that, you kind of just got to... Don't be niggly. Don't get the crowd up. Kind of just settle into the game, but get yourself on the front foot when you can. I think Chelsea can do that, but their best players couldn't get into the game. Cole Palmer, again, another week where, I don't know, over the international break, he was really disappointing. Not great against Liverpool. Again, couldn't get him on the ball. And I think a lot of teams will be targeting, obviously, Cole Palmer this season and maybe doubling up on him. Wolves nearly got a result against Man City. Absolutely devastated for Wolves because I said it a couple of weeks ago. Wolves are not the worst team in the league. The fact that they haven't won a game yet is astonishing. They score goals. They're actually not awful defensively. They've got good players. I don't know what it is. This was a fluke, a freak. The goal was horrible. And I said to the boys after the goal went in, that John Stones winner late at Molineux, I thought, it's a goal that I understand why it's given and why VAR has overturned it and it's not offside. But I just don't feel like a smaller side gets that same decision. I feel like a smaller side doesn't get that. If that was Wolves scoring against Man City, I think Gary O'Neill alluded to it. It's just not a decision that I think a smaller team in the Premier League gets. It's a team that has a little bit of pull, a little bit of, like your Pep Guardiola, you could see he was going mad. There's an inkling, there's got to be a human reaction from the referees, the VAR, thinking if we don't give this, the uproar is going to be even bigger than it would be on a smaller side. So I think there's an element of that. I really do. I'm not one of those conspiracy guys, and and obviously as a Man United fan, I don't want to see City win. But at the same time, I just think something felt wrong about it. I don't like it. But lesser of the law, I kind of understand it. I don't know. He wasn't in his eye line, and I don't know whether he would have saved it, Jose Sarr. But, Bernardo Silva was a factor in that. He wasn't offside when the ball's played in, I understand, but he's interacting with the goalkeeper. The goalkeeper, 0.4 seconds later, has to deal with a shot coming in on him, whilst he's kind of coming back from that altercation or whatever it was with Bernardo Silva. I just feel like that does affect him being there and in an offside position. I don't know. It just felt wrong. Bournemouth 2-0 against Arsenal, one of the best performances I've seen this season. Obviously, Arsenal, I would say this, disappointed from Arsenal. The red card's one thing, it can happen to anyone. It's happened to them 3 times. May just be luck, I don't know. I don't think it's this dark arts thing. I do think there's been a focus on it from Mikel Arteta and thinking that might get them the marginal gains to win a Premier League. I don't think that's the reason why they have had the men sent off. I just think it's complacency. Maybe they're going into some games ultra confident and thinking that they're going to win games and making silly mistakes and things like that. The Saliba red card, it was a red card. What I would say about that is a Man City, a Liverpool, a big side who can go and win titles and have shown that they've won a title, will go and win that game anyway. And Arsenal sat back. I knew it as soon as that red card happened. I looked over at Sterling and thought, Sterling's coming off here. Now, Sterling wouldn't have come off if he was at City. You might have replaced someone at some point, but Arsenal should really believe that they can go and beat any Premier League side, even with 10 men, because that's the level it takes to win a Premier League. You need to be that much better than everyone in the league. So, yeah, I think down to 10 men, you shouldn't look at it like it is this massive thing we're going to hold on for a point. You should go and try and win the game. And I think Sterling was the wrong person to take off at that time, in my opinion. Fulham, Villa are incredible. It says something about Villa that they're in the top 4 and on the same amount of points, I think, as Arsenal, who are contenders for a title, and people aren't surprised, shocked, saying anything about it or talking about it. I've just watched them beat Bologna at home. They're top of the Champions League table, which is madness. They've beaten Bayern Munich, and they're in the top 4 again in the Premier League, and they don't look like they're slowing up. And Morgan Rogers is mustard. What a player. There's a lot of similarities in terms of his attitude to Wayne Rooney at a young age. He is unfazed by any situation you put him in. You could play him in a World Cup final. I feel like he'd play exactly the same as if he was playing a cup game or an under-21 reserve game. I feel like he's got that mentality. He just doesn't care. And Wayne Rooney had that when he came through. And it's very rare that you see a young English player just not care anymore because there's so much scrutiny on them. He's come through this side, the Villa side, and every single game you see something different from him. You see something a little bit, I didn't realise he had that to his game. He picks up the ball and he'll take players on. He'll beat defences by himself. The thing that he will add, and I think it's not something that I would even say is a criticism at this point, because I think it is going to come, is the goals. He started scoring as well this season, and I think more consistently, once he starts scoring, people are going to be like, how much is that guy worth? How much could you buy him for? It's 150 million at this point. I actually think he's that good. Ipswich against Everton. Everton going really well, Ipswich struggling. Ipswich have got to get a handle on this, and I don't know what it is. It's probably goal scoring. It's got to be defensively. I don't feel like there's ever a point where Ipswich will go into a game and they're going to keep a clean sheet. Everton under Sean Dyche have sorted things out. Good run of form. A clean sheet for them is massive away from home. Man United sorting things out at Brentford. at Old Trafford against Brentford. A good performance in the second half. Really, really thought it was a good performance. Watched the whole game back. Marcus Rashford, very good. Garnacho, better in the second half. Took our chances, the couple that we had, the good ones. Brentford, of course, they scored when De Ligt was off. It was absolute nuts, and I don't think any other Premier League side concedes that goal. I think it's because of Man United. Something about Man United is we're just a joke. We're a laughing stock, and I've said it time and time again this season. But how can we be so incompetent in every aspect on the pitch? It's madness to me. Newcastle, don't know what's going on there. Brighton, don't know what's going on there, but Brighton beat Newcastle at St James's Park, and the Geordies are furious. Brighton are just... I spoke about them last week. How can you be that good with the level of players you've got? I don't get that. I don't get it. It's like they've all got this belief in each other that they can win any game, go to any place and score a goal and see it out. And they obviously believe in each other, and it doesn't matter which player comes in and swaps out. Evan Ferguson started for the first time in a while, came in, good performance, solid performance. Danny Welbeck scored. I don't know, just feels like, everything Brighton do turns to gold. And I don't know, how are they going to finish top 4? Are they going to finish in the top 6? It'll take some going, but I think they're better than Man United. I think they're better than a lot of teams. They're arguably better than Tottenham. They've showed that they're better than Tottenham by beating them. I think they'll go really well. After me calling them to get relegated at the start of the season. I know loads about football. Southampton losing to Leicester. Russell Martin is gutted. Leicester are buzzing. Jamie Vardy's buzzing. It's just such a Southampton thing to do. I would have put my life on Leicester beating Southampton this weekend. Thought it was the absolute banker. The way it turned out was they went 2-0 down. But, don't know, Leicester beat them twice in the Championship last season. I just feel like Leicester are better. It's just something about the team. Russell Martin, don't know, just feel like he can't figure out how to play against these sort of teams, Leicester's and things like that. Go and close the game out 2-0 up at home. Don't know, see it out. And then finally, Tottenham beating West Ham. I'm a big fan of Ange, big fan of Tottenham. Love watching them play. A great game to watch. But West Ham, don't know. It's West Ham versus Man United on the weekend, and they're calling it the El Sacico. Lopetegui obviously under a lot of pressure at West Ham. Things aren't clicking. The team that they've got, the players that they've got, the money that they spent, they should be challenging. They should be challenging Europe minimum. And they're not, and that's down to the manager, and the manager needs to sort out or he'll be gone. Don't think he'll make it to Christmas. Right, let's do my weekend treble before we go. As you know, I pick 3 selections for every Saturday game, for every weekend. 2-1 odds, roughly. You put £10 on it. Sometimes it comes in, sometimes it doesn't. When it does, it gets you 30-ish pounds, and it means that you can do another couple and lose and still be in profit. The idea is that you're going to be in profit at the end of the season. We were last season. We are this season. Last week, we lost. I'm gutted. I'm sorry. We're in a small little bad patch, but we're a total of £92 in profit if you'd have been backing it with £10 every week. So I think that's amazing, personally. And we're going to win next weekend, so have the faith. First selection for the weekend, Real Madrid versus Barcelona over 2.5 goals. Second selection, Bolton versus Peterborough over 2.5 goals. And third selection is St. Pauli versus Wolfsburg over 1.5 goals. £10 gets you £27, 24 back. Then we'll be winning. Then everyone's happy instead of last week where we weren't happy. I don't know what happened. I had Arsenal in my weekend treble last week and they managed to get beat by Bournemouth. Should have seen that coming. Really should have seen that coming, actually. And I know it doesn't sound like it's obvious, but it was obvious, and I've missed it, and I apologise. Won't happen again. Stick with me. I'm back next week, every Wednesday, until the end of the season, hopefully without flu, and hopefully less coughs. Only 3 or 4 coughs in this episode. I was expecting a lot more. Sorry for all you cough fans who have let you down. Bye.